Hi everyone, we begin our epic journey to Antarctica. We fly into Buenos Aires. There's a strike at the airport, big delays, 4 hours. We finally got our plane down to Ushuaia, which is at the tip of Argentina. This is where the Drake Passage is. If you want to go around the tip of Argentina, this is where you do it. But really super windy. We got on the ship. Antarctica. We're starting our expedition. This is not a cruise, an expedition. 17 days of wild adventure. You never know what's going to happen because the weather's crazy. We got into our room, really nice room. They had all of our gear laid out, special coats, pants, backpack, boots, everything. We tried everything on. A very comfortable room, to be honest with you, because we're going to be in there a long time and we're going to really be shaking and rocking and rolling because the seas are crazy. They have great lectures throughout the day on birding, on geology, on every subject you could imagine. So it's a highly educational environment. We go out onto the deck and we watch the birds soar. It's just incredible. The food obviously was fantastic on this ship. Great food all day long. They let us up into the wheelhouse and we got to see where the captain pilots the boat. The ship is only about 2 or 3 years old, so state of the art. And then we started to our first location, which was the Falkland Islands. So we arrived at the main little town, which is Stanley, only a population of about 5,000 people. This is where the epicenter was in many regards to the Falkland War, if you remember that back in the 80s. And then we got in a van and we drove out into the countryside, and then from there we transferred into Range Rovers and we drove for 1 hour in first gear, very, very slow, to get out to a rookery to see native penguins, rockhopper penguins. So we got out to these beautiful cliffs. The funny thing is when I was in Africa, I didn't drive on roads this rough or this slow. But we finally got out to the cliffs, and this is actually where the penguins jump in the water, go fishing all day long, and then they traverse and climb up these cliffs to get back to the rookery to feed their babies. It was crazy. I couldn't believe the distance they travel. And they love to hop. This is a mother and 2 babies following each other around here, and they're just hopping everywhere, or just sitting there, standing the wind and the cold and enjoying one another. I don't know. This is a strange life, but if you're a penguin, I guess it's probably just perfect. But it was a fun time watching the birds in their native habitat. You know, I've seen them at SeaWorld, but I've never seen them in the wild. So that's what this trip is all about, seeing nature at its best. Then we continued on to South Georgia, and after almost 2 days, we came across the Shag Islands. Now these rocks are, imagine, sitting up out of the water in the middle of nowhere, these jagged peaks. So imagine these are massive mountains underneath the water, and just these sharp points stick out. There are whales all around there because it's a great feeding area. A lot of biological activity going on here, and the birds swoop down because the whales are picking up all the krill, bringing them to the surface, and the birds feed on them. And look at the wingspans on these birds. These are albatross, all different kinds of birds, but massive wingspan. They stay out at sea for weeks and months, and they just soar and they try to fish, and they look for the whales. So if you see whales, you see birds, you see birds, you see whales. They all go together. So stay tuned. Every couple days I'm going to do an update on our epic journey to Antarctica.